Hi, listeners. I am Prateek Chaudhary, and welcome to Chords Podcast. Chords is one-to-one mentorship platform, and today on our podcast, we are with an industry expert to mentor you. Content is the king. We all must have heard this term. So today's guest has more than 8 years of experience in content creation and currently working with one of the unicorn startup of India, company with $11.1 billion valuation, Byju's. Welcoming Senior Associate at Byju's, Arun Sumotra. Arun is a 2011 graduate in Bachelor's of Art in Journalism and Mass Communication and has been a freelance content writer, worked with companies like Focus Circles Brand Private Limited, Sumeru Solutions, Marine Insight, and lot others. So hey Arun, how are you?
Hi Pratik, I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, I am fine too. So Arun, we are excited to know what's your story of becoming content creator. How from a freelancer you finally landed at Byju's. So without any more delay, let's start. Feel free to share your success story, Arun.
I would like to start off by saying that I never thought that I wanted to be a content creator. As a child, we all have different dreams that we want to grow up and be an astronaut or be something. So when I was a child, I wanted to be a truck driver. So
Okay.
I,
So yeah, that's something different.
yeah, I mean, I was the sort of person who really wanted to go around and drive around and look at places, discover new places. Yeah, but that I think is a childish dream.
Hmm.
So what happened is that when I was going through my schooling, everything was fine.
Hmm.
As I entered college, I sort of gave up on studying and I became a backbencher,
Okay.
which was a very fun thing to do at that point of time. But my grades started taking a hit.
Hmm.
So by the time I reached 12th, I was really in a fix, and I came down with jaundice, and I could not appear for my 12th exams. So I had to take a drop, and I appeared the next year, but I didn't fare really well in that as well. So
Hmm.
I was, sort of demoralized, and while all of my other classmates had, carried on with their studies, some had started their engineering studies, and some had started something else.
Hmm.
I was barely able to scrape from my 12th standard exams. I wasn't really sure of what I wanted to do, and there was this feeling that I don't want to be left behind, and I want to start earning as soon as I can. So I started looking for options which were not conventional, and I ended up finding a course which was about animation and graphic designing, which was something which was really big back I almost 12 or 13 years. So I think in the mid 2000s, animation was becoming a big industry in India.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I thought that let's give this a try. Maybe I could be one of those people who could join a big company and make a lot of money
Hmm.
without spending so many years studying.
Hmm.
So I went for that course, and sadly enough, I did not complete it. And even though I did not complete it, I did learn a couple of things, and I managed to get a job. This was back in 2008. I think my first job gave me 5,000 rupees a month.
Okay.
So that was decent enough for me because
Hmm.
I wanted a break. Anything, is good for your first job.
Yeah.
In fact, I worked the first month for free, but the boss was, I think he was happy with my work, and he was like, "Hey, take 5,000 rupees as travel allowance at least."
Okay.
So that's how I ended up making my first salary. But I realized that this was not something which was sustainable in the long term because I wasn't an expert at that. If I wanted to, I could continue there, but I knew that I could not, make a lot of money doing this in the same company. Either I had to really upskill myself and join a big company, and then my parents and my brother, they told me that why don't you consider finishing your studies at least?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll give you some sort of better opportunities.
Hmm.
So I was a very difficult child. I was very adamant and very difficult to deal with. Really gave a hard time to my parents, but I sort of saw some sense in that, and I said, okay, fine, let me finish my studies. Let's see where we go from there. I was already 21, I think, when I started my graduation.
Okay.
So while all of my classmates were 17 and 18, I was 3 years elder to everyone.
Hmm.
So it was a weird feeling, and it sort of also made me realize that I've really missed some important years of my life. I should have been more proactive in pursuing my education. So I finished, 3 years went by and I finished my graduation, and then I started looking for a job, and I could not find something which was related to the education that I had done, which was journalism and mass communication.
Hmm.
I didn't want to become a journalist. I wanted to try something maybe in a production house or something of that sort. And I gave a couple of interviews, but it didn't just, seem right to me. So I kept on looking for jobs, and I found one which was closer to my place. But this was a different kind of job. It was more to do with business development and client servicing.
Okay.
So I thought that let me give it a try. Let me see how that goes. So I worked there for a couple of months. Then I left that job. Then I got a job as a junior copywriter in an ad agency in Mumbai. So I worked there for 3 months, learned a couple of things, but that job also didn't work out.
Okay.
So I left that job,
Hmm.
and 1 year out of college, and I had left two jobs, and I was sitting at home looking for something to join.
Hmm.
And that's when I thought that maybe I've done copywriting, at least tried my hand at copywriting. Why not try something in content writing?
Hmm.
So that's how I started looking for opportunities online. And one of my brother's friend had started a new venture. So his website was dealing with the marine industry. He was a marine engineer himself.
Okay.
So I happened to speak to him, and he said that we're looking for people who can write stuff for our website. So I was like, okay, let me give this a try. Let's see how this goes. So I wrote a couple of articles for that website, and then I did a couple more freelancing jobs. But I realized that the problem with freelancing, at least at that point of time, was that the client would get the job done, but they may not pay you on time.
Okay.
So there was a sort of difficult phase over there as well. So I thought that if I can write decent enough, then why not do it full time?
Yeah.
And why not do it with a company which will at least ensure that I get some sort of stable income. So that's how I started looking for a full time job. That's how I ended up finding a job in Bangalore with an IT company which was looking after the website of the Art of Living organization. So this was in 2013. I think I was at home, working from home for almost close to a year before I moved to Bangalore.
Okay.
So I joined Sumeru Solutions over there, and I was working with them. I started off as a content writer. So just to give you an idea of the sort of topics that I switched from between jobs, when I was writing for this marine related website, these were articles which were related to the marine industry, right? And I did some couple of freelance options in between where I was writing medical articles. And when I started writing for the Art of Living organization, I was supposed to write articles on yoga and meditation. Something that I had only ever tried out, but never really written about or not even read about, to be honest. So it was a very different area for me. I sort of was worried that if I'll be able to do justice to what they were expecting. But the team over there was really good, and they made me really comfortable. They said that it's okay, you at least start it off. We'll see, we'll help you, we'll guide you, and it really worked out well.
Yeah.
So I worked over there as a content writer for close to 3 years, and then I transitioned into the role of the content head. So I had a team of about 7 to 8 writers. So I sort of, because of the transition, I sort of stopped writing and was more responsible for the planning and editing of the articles that were being written. That went on for another 2-3 years, and then I wanted to try something else.
Okay.
So I left that job and I started working with somebody who was writing scripts.
Okay.
So he was not full-time into Bollywood, but he was, in touch with a lot of people who were in Bollywood, and they were also guiding him on how to go about his next project. So I thought that, I'll give that a try. That seemed really interesting, and everybody wants to, jump onto the Bollywood bandwagon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So So I was like, okay, let's give that a try. So I worked with him for a couple of months.
Okay.
But again, yeah, I think the basic problem still remains the same. We don't really get paid on time. Yeah. So I sort of, was not in the position to financially sustain myself on my savings for a long time. And I tried as long as I could. And then I thought that, maybe it's time for me to deal with reality and find a job again. So that's how I ended up giving an interview at Byju's, and that went through in the first go. I was really nervous because I hadn't appeared for an interview in a really long time, and I had no idea on how the market dynamics had changed and what was going out in the industry. So I was a little unprepared, but I thought that I have to start somewhere. So I went for the interview. It went well, and I heard back from them in the same week and started working with Byju's the next month.
Okay.
That's how I ended up at Byju's.
Oh, okay. That's pretty interesting story, I say. Basically, you have experience in every domain, in fact, at Bollywood too. So, and you always wanted to try. You never gave up. So that is very motivational to the aspirants listening to us.
Yeah, Bollywood, I wouldn't count that as an experience because I didn't really get to write much, though I did learn a lot from him. Even though it did not work out financially or monetarily, but there was a lot of learning involved, and opens up your horizons about what you really want to do and do in your life. What opportunities are there out in the market. It really opens you up to that.
Very true, very true. So, Arun, what's your exact role at Byju's? What exactly do you do there?
So, like I told you, my last job involved editing and proofreading, looking at the content that was being generated. So, at Byju's, I do something similar.
Okay.
If you're familiar with their products, you would know that they roll out videos for students or across different standards. So, what happens is that you have somebody who writes the script that the presenter reads out, and you have a team. You have a team of writers, and you have a team of people who create the slides that you see in the background. So I basically proofread both of those things so that they are error free. Yeah. So that's my role at Byju's. That's my current role at Byju's. But because Byju's is a really dynamic company, it's growing at a really fast pace. Yeah. So I don't know if I'll be doing the same thing 2 months down the line.
Okay, okay. So, Arun, what is the pathway to become a great content writer or a content creator? What one should have to pursue to become one?
Pratik, I think not one of the most important things would be that you should be able to, think through what you want to write about.
Okay.
If I have to explain this simply, see, most of us don't think that they want to grow up and be a content writer. Right? It's a very general thing. There might be people out there like I wanted to be a truck driver. I'm sure there would be somebody out there who wants to be a content writer when they grow up. But I'm just saying that this we all start out of a habit where we usually write for our own pleasure. So that's the first step in that direction, right? You always write for your own pleasure. You don't write it so that you can make money out of it. But eventually down the line, you realize that maybe I'm good at this thing, and maybe I can turn this into a full-time career.
Okay.
Right. So first off is that you should be able to write, even if it is bad, even if it is horrible. Continue writing. And this is something that I've learned from my past managers. That we used to run into what we call the writer's block. You've been writing articles day in day out, and at one point of time you would probably feel that I've run out of ideas. Or I can't think of how to deal with this particular topic. So what we used to do is that we used to challenge ourselves into writing something which was not work related.
Okay.
We would on our day off, so in the evenings after work, we would say that I want you to send a 500-word article on anything that you want. Send it to me by tomorrow. And that really gets you thinking of outside your workplace. It's a difficult transition actually. At least for me, it was a difficult transition because I was so used to writing only for work that I forgot about writing for my own self. And that shift of taking a break from writing for work really helped because when you are writing for your own self, you don't really have any boundaries on your imagination. You don't have any constraints to work with. You are free to write on anything that you want, and that really lets you be more expressive.
Yeah.
And once you do that, that entire experience of writing something for your own self is so refreshing that when you go back to the drawing board for your work related articles, you have a complete different take on those articles. You will be a little more open to trying out new things, new styles. So I think it's very important that you continue writing, even though you've been in the industry for X number of years, or even if you are somebody who's just starting off or who's considering starting off. It's important that you always write. And the second thing that complements it is reading. We all write because we want somebody to read it.
Yeah.
Right? Anything that we have read up until now is something that was written by somebody. So reading and writing are two things which go hand in hand. You can't become a very good writer if you're not a good reader. And reading really opens up you to a lot of new things. And one should definitely experiment with different genres. You should not stick to just say, I love reading fiction. But it would be a really disservice to just stick to fiction and not try out non-fiction, or not try out, something like a biography of somebody. Because until the time you don't read those things, you will not know what you're really missing out.
Yeah.
So I think reading and writing are two things that everyone should definitely do.
Okay. So it's like capturing world with your words and not with camera.
Yeah, yeah, you could say that.
Okay. So we have another question. How do you find killer content ideas? What do you read, or which website you prefer? Which social media handles you mostly visit? So how do you do basically your research part?
So I think when you want to work as a content creator, professionally, when you want to do that, assuming that you are working with an organization, or you're working with a company, more or less there is somebody from the marketing team or some other team who would tell you, hey, these are the topics that we want articles on. The topics are sort of pre-decided for you, or people can also go through Google AdWords and find topics that are related to their particular industry. Right?
Okay.
Suppose you're writing for, say, a gymnasium. Right? You're working for a company that is associated with the health industry. So you can use Google AdWords. It's a free tool. You can go to Google AdWords and you can find topics that are related to that particular industry, and then you can find how many articles exist and what are the things that people are looking for. So that sort of gives you a general sense of idea of what your next topic could be about.
Okay.
Right? Or that generally what content creators do. But then again, there is no harm in trying out new topics that you think may interest readers. So you, as far as finding topics goes, Google AdWords I think is a good place to start off with. Yeah, because I think the problem really lies in the fact that at times we as writers think that hey, I have this brilliant idea, let me write it down. But when you're working for a company, that really does not work well, because even though the idea might be excellent, there might be a huge disconnect between what you write and what the readers want to read.
Very true, very true.
So you have to be very sure of you're not missing out on what the readers want to read. So it's always good to be aligned with what the market is looking for.
Okay.
And you can always experiment. So maybe say if you're churning out say 15 to 20 articles a month, you can always say that I want to write 2 articles which are going to be on the topics that I feel are right.
Okay.
But the rest of the 18 articles have to be for related to what people actually are looking out for.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're just sort of hampering your business. So killer ideas, I think that Google AdWords is a good place to start off with. As far as places which are good resources for writers, I was introduced to this one particular website called Gotham Writers Workshop. So I think it's a US-based company, and they offer writing courses. So, but even though you may not be interested in taking their courses, or you would probably just be looking for some resources, their website has some really good articles for anybody who's a novice writer, or even somebody who's a seasoned writer. So because we usually are limited to whatever we read, but there are people who are in the industry for a really long time, and they know a lot more than we do, right? So there's no harm in learning from anybody.
Okay.
So I think it's a good practice to go through these blogs once in a while, see if you find something interesting. Yeah. So Gotham Writers Workshop is one website that people should look at. There's another one called grammarbook.com.
Okay.
So that is more to do with the grammar aspect of your writing. So I think once you write, it also has to be readable, right? You can't just write anything and then push it to publication.
Yes.
You can't just publish it and say that, hey, my work is done, and it's now all up to the reader, because that's a little unfair. You have to make sure that whatever whatever article you've written is actually worth reading. So one of the things to do after writing any article is to make sure that it is error proof. It's error free. So you have to edit your articles. Although that may not be your area of expertise, you have to at least make sure that there are no grammar errors, because you may not be really good at grammar, or you might feel that hey, this sounds good in my head, but it may not be the case all the time. So you have to be very sure that your articles can actually be read and understood by people in the way they you wanted them to.
Okay.
So Google AdWords, Gotham Write Workshop, and Grammar Book, right?
Yeah. And I think one more tool that a lot of people may or may not be aware of is Grammarly.
Yeah, I think everyone uses Grammarly.
Yeah, I think Grammarly has been doing a lot of advertisements as well lately. I think it's a good tool to try out. Everybody should give it a try. Though I would definitely say this, that not all the suggestions that Grammarly gives are always correct. So, but it's good to run your copy or run your article through whatever you've written. Just run it through Grammarly once and see what errors it throws at you. And then read them again and again, read the explanation behind those errors, and see if it actually makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've actually come across people who who say that no, don't try Grammarly, it's not trustworthy. Yeah, it may not be trustworthy. It's an AI-driven platform, but it really can take care of at least basic errors like punctuation. It's easy to miss out on putting a comma here and there.
Yeah, very true.
And maybe even forgetting to put a full stop, or an exclamation mark here and there. Or one of the most common things that I come across is people asking a question and not putting a question mark.
Very true.
So when you're writing, when you're in the flow, you want to put everything out. You want to type out everything as soon as you can. So it's easy to make those mistakes. So there's no harm done in running your article once through Grammarly or any other similar application.
So yeah, let's talking about technology. So in this era of where technology is replacing everything, how do you see the future of content creators? Because there is AI, machine learning, artificial intelligence. So do you think these gonna take jobs of content creator?
What do you think?
So it's a very interesting question. I think 2 years back, I had the same thought running through my head, and that was around the time when I was contemplating leaving the writing and editing, and that's when I jumped into script writing. So I was actually having this very same discussion with a friend of mine who's also into content creation. And I asked her that with AI and everything that's taking over the world and almost all the fields that we know, I don't really think content creation is something that would be left behind. AI would definitely take over that as well. So she pointed out something really beautiful, that it may be able to do so, but humans have that special gift of imagination that maybe AI is far away from, at least in today, at least in the present day. So I think that really differentiates us from machine learning and AI.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, there have been advancements. I for one know that the websites like the Washington Post and New York Times, I think they've already tried
Yeah.
creating articles with the help of AI.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean that will happen someday or the other. We don't know when it'll happen, like when it will be like it'll replace everyone.
Hmm.
All the humans would be out of job.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think we are still a couple of years away from that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I think a decade, more than a decade.
yeah,
Hmm.
I think we are, because
Hmm.
it's one thing on how the technology advances, but the second part of that is how soon it is
Hmm.
soaked in, absorbed in by the industry,
Hmm.
right? And there are a lot of things that matter. There are a lot of different dynamics that come into play.
Okay.
There are a lot of infrastructural changes that you have to do,
Hmm.
and everything has to be smooth.
Hmm.
So I would not put a date on it, on
Hmm.
how far we are from it, but there are chances that it will eventually happen someday. But that should not stop anyone from
Using
writing
it as a career.
or thinking of that as a career. At the moment, that is not something which is happening on a really large scale, and not every company is going to be as big and as profitable as the Washington Post or the New York Times. So you have to think about small businesses as well.
Yeah.
Right. So there is no dearth of writers, but there is no dearth of articles as well, requirement for articles as well. So this should not be something that puts you down and makes you reconsider your career in this field.
So, Arun, on behalf of writers who are writing in their regional languages, how do you draft a topic? Are there any different rules for different languages, or is it just the same as English? So, like, मेरे को हिंदी में लिखना है या फिर in Tamil they write or in any other language. So, what is the criteria?
So I think I've not really worked with a lot of vernacular languages, especially the South Indian languages, but I've had the chance to work for a couple of articles in Hindi, right? So I'm just going to. I think it makes more sense to do this in Hindi.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. तो हिंदी में ऐसा होता है कि जो उसके बेसिक्स होते हैं आर्टिकल लिखने के, अंग्रेजी में जैसे हम आर्टिकल लिखते हैं, उसके जो बेसिक्स हैं वो सेम रहते हैं, वो नहीं बदलते हैं। पर क्योंकि हर भाषा का अपना ग्रामर अलग होता है, उसका अपना कुछ अलग अंदाज होता है, तो वो जरूर बदलता है। पर जब आप आर्टिकल लिखना चाहते हैं तो आप वैसे ही गूगल एडवर्ड्स पे जाके कोई टॉपिक ढूंढ सकते हैं। आप देख सकते हैं कि उस टॉपिक को कितने लोग हर महीने उस टॉपिक के ऊपर खोज कर रहे हैं, उस टॉपिक के ऊपर कितने आर्टिकल्स हैं, और काफी सारी चीजें आपको गूगल एडवर्ड्स पे पता चल जाती हैं। तो कुछ कुछ आर्टिकल्स ऐसे होंगे जिन पे बहुत कम लोगों ने लिखा हुआ है, और उनको ढूंढने वाले लोग बहुत हैं, उस विषय पे काफी लोग खोज कर रहे हैं। वो एक बहुत अच्छा विषय हो सकता है आपके लिए, तो आप उस विषय पे लिख सकते हैं। फिर आप उसमें कीवर्ड्स इंक्लूड कर सकते हैं। तो ये सारी चीजें जो है, अगर आप जिस भी कंपनी में काम करेंगे तो उसमें मेरे ख्याल से कोई ना कोई ऐसा होता ही है जो SEO देखता है, जो सर्च इंजन ऑप्टिमाइजेशन जो होती है, उसको हमेशा कोई ना कोई देखने वाले होते ही। और अगर ऐसा नहीं भी है, अगर आप किसी छोटे क्लाइंट के साथ काम कर रहे हैं जिनका बिजनेस बहुत बड़ा नहीं है और उनके पास इतनी बड़ी टीम नहीं है जो आपके लिए कर सके, तो ये आप खुद से भी कर सकते हैं। तो एक टॉपिक ढूंढना और उस टॉपिक में कीवर्ड्स कौन से हैं वो ढूंढना, इस चीज में मेरे ख्याल से ज्यादा आपको 20 मिनट से आधा घंटा लगता है। पर जब आप आर्टिकल लिखने बैठते हैं तो वो आर्टिकल लिखने का जो तरीका होता है, जो उसमें स्टेप्स होते हैं, वो भाषा से उनका कोई संबंध नहीं होता। हर भाषा में उनका जो स्टेप्स होते हैं वो सेम ही होते हैं। So I think this really is important because a lot of people, especially a lot of writers, are always more or less in the blind of why certain topics are given to them. I think it is important as a writer you be a little more proactive and also search for topics on your own and get familiar, at least get familiar with tools like Google AdWords, and get to know how search engine optimization works. Because anything that you write will only be ranked by Google if the keywords are present in your article.
Yeah.
So that's how people are going to find your articles. If there are no keywords and you keep on writing and writing, and then you end up running into a wall, because nobody is going to read your content. And if your content is not being read, it doesn't matter even if it is the best article in the world. It does not matter because it's not reaching the right people. It's not reaching the target group that you wanted to reach. So it is very important that although we are writers, but we should definitely know how the whole system works. And getting to learn Google AdWords or getting yourself familiar with search engine optimization is a must today. And I think it is also important that people should know that Google keeps on changing, or rather updating the way it crawls articles. It would always help stay up to date with all these trends. So you can always make sure that your content is in line with whatever the new updates Google rolls out.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So Arun, in general, if I have to ask you, content writing is something that connects people to brands. So what type of content do people usually like now?
See, it really depends, Pratik, what industry you're writing for. I think people are looking. There are a lot of people who do read articles, but as people's attention span has really come down.
Yeah.
There was a point of time when people used to, every morning they would open the newspaper and then they would literally read every single article.
Very true.
Right? I've seen my father doing that, and people from his generation still do that. They still read newspaper day in and day out. They would spend at least an hour reading the newspaper.
Yeah.
But that was a different time, right? Nowadays, people want everything instant, right? So there are things that you have to have in your content that you create to make sure that it stands out, but it is also true to the core topic.
Okay.
Right? So I think we should have definitely killer headlines, because if you can't hook a person onto your article with your headline, you've missed the opportunity. Then it doesn't matter how good the rest of the body is.
Yeah.
Right. So killer headlines is definitely one thing that writers should work towards, and it's an art in itself.
Okay.
So that is something that we should look at. As far as what people like to read, that really depends, Pratik. I think it's very subjective.
So it depends on the audience for what we are writing. Yeah.
Yeah, it really depends on the audience, and that's why I've been coming back to this point again, that use Google AdWords.
Yeah.
See what is it that people are looking for out there. So if you are not aligned with the market, if you're not aligned with what people are looking out for, you are going to lose out on all the action. So find your topics from there. That should be your starting point.
So yeah, I think Arun, we have covered everything. Any last closing lines you want to say or suggest to the aspirants listening to you?
Yeah, I think, Pratik, just one thing that even no matter how good or bad you think of a writer you are, we've all heard that practice makes a man perfect.
Yeah.
We've all heard that, right? And it's the same thing with writing as well. So we have to, even though we feel that we may not be good writers, even we feel that there are 100 mistakes in whatever I've written, it's a constant process of learning and evolving. So I think one should definitely continue doing that. One should not give up on writing. And irrespective of how many years you've been doing this, it's always good to try some new format, or challenge yourself to try something new, even if it is not going to pay you anything. Do it for your own personal growth. And always keep writing for your own self, because that really lets you push your boundaries.
Okay.
So I would really encourage anybody who's looking of a career in content creation that there are plenty of things that you can do with respect to writing. And though I've not really ever been associated with social media content creation, but I know people who have made careers out of it. And I mean, that's one more thing that you can look at, what people can look at. And if you can write long format articles, or if you can write social media content, you can always learn something more. There's technical writing, which is a highly paying job.
Yes.
Right. And also, Pratik, I think there are a lot of people who may not have a formal education in writing. Like a lot of people that I've spoken to come from an engineering background, but they eventually felt that was not their calling, and they started writing.
Okay. So engineers are everywhere, I think.
Yeah, I think that's true. So, there are people who give up engineering and then they start pursuing writing. So if you are one of those people who come from a different background and are still passionate about writing, I think that's an excellent thing to do, and it requires guts to switch from one field to another.
Yeah, very true.
So stay true to your passion. Don't give up on your passion just because you have some initial hurdles. Right? And always keep reading. The more you read, the more you will be able to write better.
So listeners, keep reading and keep capturing your world with words. That's what Arun want to say.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it with camera as well, but if you can do it with words, even better.
Yeah, better. Okay.
Yeah, so Arun, I think we have covered everything, and it was really pleasure to connect with you, and amazing session, I say, because content is something that everyone will have to do. Either that is startup, small business, a big brand, everyone creates a content. So it was really an insightful session with you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Pratik, for having me.
So listeners, that's all for today. See you next week with a new industry expert, a new story to learn from. Stay tuned, podcast Chords.